Okay, good afternoon, everyone. How is everyone doing? We had a nice meditation for 40 minutes, and now I think your mind is clear and ready for the sutta study. And to me, this is one of the best moments of my day if I have a chance to get back to the teaching of the Buddha, the authentic teaching of the Buddha, which is kept in the Buddhist text. So, as a Buddhist monk, we have two main duties, right? To study the teaching and to meditate. And when it comes to study the teaching of the Buddha, first source that should come to our mind is the Buddhist text, not from any other books. So we should make sure that we have a chance to actually see from our own eyes what the Buddha teach. The teaching of the Buddha is very amazing. You can start from any teaching, and every teaching at the end, if you understand and if you put into practice, it will take you to liberation. It will help to purify your mind, calm your mind, and eventually you will be liberated. You learn about loving kindness. At the end of loving kindness, what happened? You have good meditation. You're liberated. You're not suffering. You're happy. You learn about anger, dealing with anger. Learn about being patient. So everything that you learn is coming down to one thing, which is the purification of the mind. Every single thing. So you have to make sure that you have that picture clear. So it is said there are two things that shape the way we live our life. 5 years from now, the book that you read, the people that you hang out with, the book that you read, the group of people that you hang out with, it will affect your life 3 years, 5 years from now. I realized that this is so true. The book that you read, what happens when you read the book? You have new input, new information. You are brainwashing yourself through the book that you read. The people that you associate with, you hang out with the monk who love meditate, you will be a good meditator. You hang out with the crowd that love to do programming, you will be a good programmer. You hang out with the crowd who love to drink, to dance, enjoy nightlife, you will be one of them. You will be addicted to those behavior, and it will become you. You will become those habits, those behavior. You will become a drunkard. You will become a careless person. What if 5 years from now you get back to the sutra, one sutra per day? You can see the big change in 1 month. One sutra a day change the whole life. You are brainwashing yourself to the right teaching, which is the Dhamma. You slowly, bit by bit, accumulate wisdom, okay, into your data bank through the teaching of the Buddha. Whatever sutra, short or long, doesn't matter. Give yourself 5-10 minutes a day. So I said go to at least one sutra a day before I go to bed. And why? Because this is how I hang out with the Buddha, how I hang out with the Arahant or the wise men back then. How can we hang out with them? They're not here. But they leave us the precious gift, which is the teaching that kept in the Tipitaka. Tipitaka, most of the teaching is a collection of the teaching of the Buddha, but some of them, they are a collection of the teaching of his great disciple, those Arahant in the past, Ananta, Sariputta, Kassapa, Mokkhalana, those names that you should be familiar with. So some of them come from this disciple, but most of them come from the Buddha himself. So to me, this is the way I can hang out with those Arahant people, hang out with the Buddha, learn from them, reflect from his teaching, and put everything we learn into practice. If we ordain and we don't have a chance to study the true teaching, what are we doing here? The day goes by, what do? You sit, you walk, you talk, you eat, you go back to bed. What kind of wisdom that you have developed today, besides observing precept, besides trying to be mindful? The ultimate aim in Buddhism is to develop wisdom. Without wisdom, we cannot liberate it. Precept is the starting point, is the first condition. And then go to mental development, purify the mind, deal with hindrance, ignorance, and eventually go up to the higher wisdom through your meditation practice or vipassana, vipassana bhavana, that develop the insight meditation. So you have to see the whole picture. It doesn't matter which sutra that you start off your day. To me, can be anything. You can grab one of these, just randomly open up the page. I make it easy, just one sutra, one page, few sentences. Just open up, go through it, and move on with your day. Reflect on it. This is how you get back to the Buddha. This is how you hang out with them, people in the past, and realize that the Buddha is there, always there to teach us, to guide us personally. He is your personal trainer, and he is always there for you. It's your job, your responsibility to get back to his teaching, that's all. Okay, so that's something I like to start off with. And today, the teaching, it's very fascinating because the other day ago, we came across the teaching of Paticca Samuppabbada, which is the dependent origination, which is a very profound teaching of the Buddha. And everyone seemed to be fascinated about this teaching and want to know about it. It's very profound, and it's going to take a lot of time to not only go through the text, but digest information that we read from the text. So from the book that Luang Pi have, this one also have I collect the sutra that related to Nibbana, that related to Paticca Samuppabbada. You can go through this first, just to get yourself an idea what it means by dependent origination, not just one sutra here. And later on, when we have a chance, slowly talk about it, okay, each factor at a time. But here, the important elements, two things in Paticca Samuppabbada, that you should, I think it helps you to see the whole picture much better if you understand the origin of Paticca Samuppabbada, which is start from the word avijja and all the way down to dukkha. The teaching of the Buddha is all about getting to know dukkha and know how to remove dukkha from your life. That's it. The rest is minor teaching. His major discovery and his major teaching, only two things. Get to know your life, that life, nature of life is dukkha, and what causes dukkha. And your job is to make sure to minimize those causes, or if it's possible, to remove the cause of suffering. That's it. That's the teaching of the Buddha, nothing else. He doesn't want you to know who created the universe, how to fly and how to read someone's mind. That's minor. That's byproduct when you get to that level. But the important thing is get to know this, how avijja gives rise to suffering. What involved in this process, there are 12 links. Avijja, mental formation, okay, vijnana, okay, nama, rupa, all the way to craving, clinging, and becoming, and then suffering. These are the 12 links. And we have no idea what they are. That's why we live life under the guidance of this ignorant, we call ignorant minds. So avijja is a big word. When you come to the teaching of the Buddha, you must understand what it means. What is avijja? And you must see the picture how avijja gives rise to suffering. If you fully understand this process, congratulations, you are graduated. You become PhD in Buddhism. I found this two sutra is quite interesting. It's not directly talk about dependent origination, but it gives us a very clear idea of how dependent origination works. It's called dependent arising of avijja, dependent arising of liberation or the true knowledge. No, avijja doesn't mean dukkha. Hold on for that for a moment. I will give you the definition. But this cause is called Avijja Sutta. It's the discourse of ignorance. When you learn the sutra of the Buddha, I like you to connect it back to the Four Noble Truths. Okay? It's always connected. The Buddha said the Four Noble Truths is like the footprint of elephants. So that means it's the biggest body of Dhamma. Whatever you learn from this moment on in your life, you can always track it back to the Four Noble Truths. So it doesn't matter where I start. I can help you to link it back to the Four Noble Truths and help you to see how this Dhamma help you to free yourself from suffering. That's the idea. I don't think we can finish them all, but at least the 50% part of this sutra. I give you an overview of the sutra, the ignorance, the avijja, and then we focus on the second objective, which is the nutriment of ignorance. How ignorance come to be, how suffering come to be. What would be the food of ignorance? That's very fascinating. And then I give you the summary at the end. We may skip the third part. The sutra is like this. This discourse is like this. There are two important parts of the sutra. The first part, the Buddha talk about ignorance and the food or the fuel or the nutriment of ignorance. What it mean by fuel? Okay? If you have this, it will grow this. If you weaken this, this will also weaken. See the picture? So what weaken ignorance? What strengthen ignorance? And that's the first part. The second part of the sutra is talking about what exactly that gives strength to liberation. What would be the fuel or the nutriment of liberation? The two parts. So it's in the same manner. If you understand the first part, then easy for you to study the second part. So I can make it 15 minutes, finish, or I can make it 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on how much time that we have. So today I'm not in a rush. I will focus on the first and the second, especially on the second objective, which is getting to know fully of how ignorance gets filled up bit by bit until get to the bottom of how can we free ourselves, or at least know how to deal with ignorance, how to lessen the condition that support ignorance. That's the idea. So this is the Beauty Sutta. And when you come to this sutra, there are two sutras that has exactly the same information. So when you study the first one, you should study the second one as well. In the same Anguttara Nikaya 10.61 and 10.62. I don't think I have it here for you, okay, in this book, but I have a handout for you. So it talks about ignorance and it talks about craving. The first sutra, which the sutra that we are going to learn today, is called Avijja Sutra. Avijja is ignorant. The key person of the first sutra is about ignorance. What weaken ignorance, what strengthen ignorance. But the second sutra is called Tanha Sutra. Tanha again, Tanha is craving, right? The only difference from the first and the second is the second sutra, the center idea or the main explanation of the second sutra is about Tanha and the relationship between ignorance and craving, Tanha and Avijja. I hope I get you guys excited to go back and study by yourself. Okay, so we'll start off with the first sutra today, the first half, okay, to see if we have time we can continue. Start from here. When you hear the word avijja, what comes to your mind? What is avijja? Avijja, opposite to viccha, right? If there is a viccha, there should be viccha. This is something opposite. From not knowing to know something. From ignoble to be noble person. From a person who don't know anything to a person who know something. So knowing and not knowing. Avijja, you can think of not knowing something. But not knowing in Buddhism, it doesn't mean not knowing how to cook, not knowing how to speak English, not knowing how to do this, do that. No. It's deep. So when we learn the story of the master gets intrigued by the word avijja of the day that he ordained. When he started reading the sutra, but he didn't understand because it's kept in Pali. There was no translation. So the word avijja got him thinking what it means, and he wanted to go to the bottom of the meaning of this vocabulary. This is one of the biggest vocabulary in Buddhism. Avijja, the Dhamma, the Vijnana, the Sankhara, this kind of vocabulary we need to make sure that we understand. Then we can practice the Dhamma properly. To keep it simple, I don't know if I can. So I come up with the three categories. With avijja, when you think of the word avijja, you think of the root cause of suffering, which is dukkha. Because avijja here, that's why at the end of the journey, at the end of the route of rebirth, or the dependent origination, it starts from avijja, go all the way to dukkha. So that means avijja is something that causes us suffering. Cause dukkha. This is the starting point. But is there anything else before avijja? The answer is yes. We don't talk about it. People don't talk about it. But it had to start somewhere. So the Buddha started from avijja. And then he explained the link between avijja and the sankhara and the vijnana all the way to craving, clinging, becoming, and then suffering. So this is the link. So your job is to see, oh, okay, how come I am suffering? How suffering come about to this world? Oh, if you track it back, the Buddha discovered something called avijja. So that means this guy is very bad. It caused us in the realm of suffering. And now he see them. He see it. And he teach us, what it is and how to deal with it properly in many ways, in many sutras. If he teach children, he may teach this way. If he teach adult, teach another way. If he teach scholar, he teach another way. If he teach the king, he teach another way. But the same topic. about suffering and how to end suffering. And now you have come this far. I think you should go beyond the mundane study of the teaching of the Buddha. So we go higher, a little bit higher. So avijja is the root cause of suffering. Okay, have that information first. And we don't know the link in between, but we know that at least something there, and it causes us the suffering. And another explanation of the word avijja is not knowing. It's not knowing the true nature of thing. Not only you not knowing, you misunderstanding. Your perception has been distorted. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch, this perception that you receive, your will toward that thing, your will toward the world, your perception that you have is being distorted. You don't see things the way they are. And that's why you are suffering. That's why you're not happy. And that is caused by the avijja. It causes our perception to be distorted. So we don't see things the way they are. We don't see things that the way it's supposed to be, the reality of things. And that's avijja. For example, when you're getting mad, now you're okay, right? You smile, you laugh, okay? And all of a sudden you're getting mad for some reason. And the way you see your friends who say something bad to you and you're getting mad, your perception is being distorted through the anger, hatred mind, ill will mind. It distorts the way you think. It distorts the way you perceive. So you would do something silly, something that you normally don't do if you are mindful. If you not get angry, you'll be smile, you'll be okay, you share loving kindness, you're happy. All of a sudden someone says something bad and you get mad toward that sentence. The thing that you hear, the bad word that you hear, his face, the sound, the tone, his gesture with the sound that come to the ear, the picture of that person come to your eye, and everything go to your mind, and then the mind give the meaning wrongly. You know what? This guy, he doesn't like me. This guy is a bad guy. Maybe I should do something bad about him. All of a sudden you start, fighting or hitting him, whatever the anger tell you to do. Because your perception has been distorted. Your mind is not the same. Your mind is not clear as it used to be. It gets distorted. It gets stirred by the anger. The deep down underneath the anger, it's come from avijja. It's come from this ignorant mind. We're not mindful enough. Then we get angry. We do something silly. So the guy, woman and man, boyfriend, girlfriends, they're in love. Okay, life is good. Being couple for a few years, and all of a sudden the woman find a new guy and left him. He was sad, didn't know what to do, so he committed suicide. He jumped off the roof, fell down and died. What caused him to do that? Which is normally he wouldn't do that. And this is avijja. This is cause us suffering. It caused us to see things wrongly. We cling on things so much. Oh, if you don't love me, I cannot live. I'm gonna die. Please don't leave me. Is that true? When you born with her? Do you know her before? No, right? We born alone and we die alone. And now we attach to things that we see. We think that we have ability to control that happiness, that satisfaction forever. But we don't. We don't have that ability. If she changed her mind, so what? Should you kill yourself? Or should you kill her and kill her boyfriend too? And that's what happened. Everywhere. People kill people for this kind of reason. This avijja that run their life and they have no idea what drive that behavior. This is the perception is distorted, being distorted. So you don't see things clearly. So it's distorted perception, that's the second idea. And the third one, this is the good news. To know this information. Avijja, even though it's bad, it's conditioned phenomena. When I say conditioned phenomena, I mean it cannot stay by itself. It needs a supporting condition for avijja to start running our life. So if you know this condition, what gives rise to avijja, what weakens avijja, then you can work on that area. You may not know how to attack it directly because we don't see it. Why is avijja? We have no idea. It's somewhere in the mind. Unless you see your mind through meditation, then you start seeing, oh, now I see you. What size, what color, what shape, what form. But now we don't have that ability yet. But at least we can sense it, we can feel it. When you get angry, your face turn red, you feel that you want to do something. But when you have lust, you know your mind, when your mind have lust, you want to go after something, buy something, eat something, woman, food, clothes, whatever. And that's lustful mind. The lust control you. You don't see lust, but you can check your behavior. Now you're following, now you're acting like this because the guy named lust is take control of your mind. Human mind can take one thing at a time. You think of the chair. There is one chair. There are 3 men dancing around the chair. And when the music stops, only one man can sit on that chair. If last man sit on the chair, you go after something. If angry man sit on that chair, you want to kill someone, do something bad. If delusion getting on that chair, you don't know what to do. You lost, you confused. So one person at a time, one thing at a time. The mind can perceive one thing at a time. So this is a good information. And it's conditioned phenomenon. What is condition? Condition means it needs something. It needs a supporting factor for it to work. And if we know that, if we understand that, then we can work on this guy, the second guy, to lessen, to weakening the avijja. And then avijja can, eventually weaker and weaker. And we may not be able to remove it, but at least it's always there. Okay, at least if we know it, we can help lessen dukkha from our life. You will see example in a moment that help you to understand better. All right. So anything about avijja for now? Okay, so I'll stop here and there. Make sure you understand. Okay, so the sutra is very beautiful. If you understand this, eventually you understand the second noble truth. You understand the first noble truth, and it links you back to the dependent origination. Okay, bit by bit. And the sutta start like this: Bhikkhu, it is said that no first point of ignorance is evident, before which there was no ignorance, and afterward it's come to be. Okay, afterward it come to be. And yet it is evident that there is a specific condition for ignorance. Wow, this is an amazing sentence. 1, 2, 3. Have you noticed anything at all? We cannot take the teaching of the Buddha lightly. Oh, I understand. Oh, I understand. No, this is deep.
So he says even there is a condition for ignorance.
Okay.
So it's created by human mind.
That means avijja or ignorance, it has condition, right? It's not alone by itself. There must be something that involved in order for avijja to working fully or properly, to run someone's life, to have that person suffering. There must be a condition involved. So start from the first sentence. It is said that no first point of ignorance is evident. To me, this is, it blew my mind. Have you heard about the Genesis? In theism, religion that believe in creator God, they understand what it means because everything created by God, by super being. Human, animal, object, earth, planet, tree, stone, animal, you name it, it created by somebody, super being. And the question is, this is a forbidden question that you cannot ask. Who created God? You cannot ask this question. It leads to problem, it leads to conflict. It leads to misunderstanding. So in theism, religion, you are not allowed to ask who created God. Because God is God. God, that's it. God is the first cause of everything. Nothing beyond God. But after God, everything happened. In Islam, right, God created the universe within 6 days. All of a sudden, out from nowhere, he feel like he want to create the universe. He created the earth, he created human, man, woman, and animal, water, river, mountain within 6 days. And that's the first cause. Everything has the first cause through the lens of theism. Theism means people who believe in the creator God. But Buddhism and Jainism is opposite. It's atheism. Atheism means this doctrine reject the idea of the first cause, reject the idea of thing created by super being. This like opposite. There is nothing exists by its own. Through the lens of Buddhism, everything come about because of condition. So if you ask what is not Buddhism, one thing that you can say what is not Buddhism is everything exists by its own. Because everything cannot exist by its own. Everything exists with condition. Start from here. The Buddha said clearly, there is no first cause of ignorance. Ignorance already there. Before which there was no ignorance, and afterward it's come to be. We don't know where it's come from. So the Buddha meditate and go back to many lifetimes during that night when he achieved enlightenment to understand the nature of things, how things connected to each other, right? And this knowledge come from seeing, not come from thinking. So he tried to locate where is avijja, when is the starting point of ignorance. There is no first cause of avijja, there is no first cause of things. Everything happened because of condition. Everything related to something. Not only that, he telling us here, avijja has specific condition, or the ignorance, it has specific condition. So when we hear the word specific condition, we think of right away, we think of dependent origination. The general law of causality and specific law of causality, right? We learn general law mean in general human, animal, object. But when we talk about specific law, dependent origination, we're talking about the suffering formation and suffering eradication in human mind only. We don't talk about suffering in the stone, suffering in the mountain, in the building, no. But those objects also suffering. They cannot last forever. Dependent origination focus on human being, okay, suffering in human mind. That's why it's called specific condition. To me, this is good news, good information. Now I know. I may not know when avijja start happening. Avijja come with us the day we born. The nature give us avijja. The nature give us greed, hatred, and illusion the day we born in our mind, which we may accumulate for many lifetimes, and then it stay with us during the time that we live, the time that we exist, and it also go with us the moment the body break apart. And we don't know when it start. We don't know when it's going to be ended. But at least we know there is a condition for this thing to be happening. So we don't have to worry about when was the first lifetime of myself. When did I born? That's not the point of Buddhism. The Buddha usually don't engage or spend time answer this kind of question about the first cause, about who create universe, about this and that. It's nothing to do with suffering. That's why he used the parable of the man who got shot by the arrow in the back, right? So your job is to make sure you go to see the doctor and have it removed and heal your wound and then do something else. But usually human being, we don't. When we got shot by the arrow, we want to know who shot us, what kind of arrow, what his name, where he's come from, what his father name, his mother name, what kind of work did he do. We want to get all of those information first before we can go to see the doctor. That's the nature of us. Now suffering is immediate threat that all of us have. And we're going to die soon. You know, we're not going to live more than 100 years. 100 years ago, we didn't exist. 100 years from now, where we'll be going? We go somewhere. We're not here. So instead of you worrying about this kind of information, why don't you fix yourself what the immediate suffering in front of you? To get to know, to purify your mind, to find the true happiness. That's what you should do. When your mind is pure and bright, every question that you have been searching for the answer, you will find it in your mind, just like the Buddha did when he sit underneath the Bodhi tree 2,500 years ago. He realized the truth, realized the true nature, penetrate his own mind, remove all the defilement. Then he see things the way they are. Oh, now I see you. Your name is avijja. You are the root cause of suffering. Greed, hatred, and illusion come from you. And now I know how to deal with you. I know how to remove you guys from my mind. That's the idea. So there is no first cause through the lens of Buddhism. It's such a waste of time to discuss where is the first mind come about, when the ignorance come about. Even though you can track it back to the first cause, you will not stop asking question, who created this guy? It will never end it. In Buddhism, the Buddha aimed to look for the truth. Even his teaching, he said, don't believe because I am the Buddha. Prove it by yourself. He doesn't want anybody to believe him. The reason you believe in something because you don't know. Belief is another word of don't know. You're not sure. That's why I believe first. But when you know, you don't need anything in between not know and knowing. You remove the word believe. You don't need it. I don't say, I believe this is the phone. I don't say that. I know it's the phone. I don't say, I believe this one can take picture. I know that. But if you don't know, let's say you take this phone back 1,000 years ago and you show the phone to primitive people and you tell them, you know what, this can talk to someone, this can take picture. They may say, I believe you. Because they don't know what this thing can do. But when they know, you don't need the word believe in between. And that's the beauty of the teaching of the Buddha. He wants us to move from not know to be a knower. Okay? Someone who don't know to someone who know. By your own practice, under his framework that he guides us. So don't believe what he said, don't believe everything that because he is the Buddha. It's not about, this teaching is not about believing, it's about knowing. Knowing by yourself. Not knowing because someone tell you, it has to be like this, then follow it, following this, don't ask, stop, just follow. There's no such thing. You have to get to the bottom of it by yourself, and you realize it by yourself. So I will talk about this in this category of faith in a moment. So there is no first cause, and avijja is already there. It's come with us the day we born, it's go with us the day we die, it's go with us in the future lifetime too. No problem. The good news is we know it exists, we know it causes us suffering, and we know it comes with condition. To me, this is amazing information. Then we get to know what caused, what gives rise to ignorance, and how can we lessen it. Again, study sutra is nothing, nothing fancy. It's just the text, no picture. So you may be boring. But to me, I feel like I am entering the treasure room. Whatever I can get, even one vocabulary, I feel this is my benefit today. I never get bored of doing this. So this is in your handout. But again, let me walk you through this, and then I'll explain in a moment. I say, bhikkhu, that ignorance, he starts from ignorance, has nutriment. What is nutriment? Nutriment means food, means fuel, something you add on, and then this thing can grow. That's the characteristic of the word nutriment. It is not without nutriment. Okay, ignorant, it has nutriment, not without nutriment. And what is the nutriment for ignorance? Here comes the answer. It should be said, the 5 hindrances. The 5 hindrances are nutriments of the ignorance. Interesting. Now we know. 5 hindrances. We just learned, right? 5 hindrances. Now the Buddha pinpoint 5 hindrances. These 5 things are the cause, are the nutriment of ignorance or avijja. So let Luang Pi go through all this first, and then I'll come back to explain in a moment. And also 5 hindrances has nutriment. They are not without nutriment. And what is the nutriment for 5 hindrances? The Buddha said the 3 kind of misconduct. Interesting. Ignorance, 5 hindrances, and 3 kind of misconduct. Okay, 3 kind of misconduct also have nutriment. They are not without nutriment. And what is the nutriment for the 3 kinds of misconduct? It should be said, non-restraint of sense faculty. If you don't guard your sense faculty, this is the nutriment for the 3 kinds of misconduct. All right? So what is the nutriment for non-restraint of sense faculty? The Buddha said, you lack of sati and sampachanya. Is the lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension or clear awareness. Or you can use the word comprehension or awareness interchangeably when it comes to sampachanya. And what is the nutriment for lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension? The Buddha said, careless attention. All right, this is the new vocabulary. Today you will encounter a few new vocabulary. And I'll explain each one of these in a moment. Careless attention, the Pali called Yoniso Manasikara. It's dealing with insight, it's dealing with wisdom. And what is the nutriment for careless attention? The Buddha said, lack of faith. Okay. Why lack of faith create careless attention? And what is the nutriment for faith? The Buddha said, not hearing the good Dhamma. Okay, now it starts to make more sense. And what is the nutriment for not hearing the good Dhamma? The Buddha said, not associating with good persons. Now we see the whole picture. Okay, let's finish this and then explain after this one. This is the second portion of the sutra. Thus, not associating with good person. The Buddha reversed the teaching. This is the teaching technique that helps students to memorize much better. So he go back and forth. Now he starts from ignorant all the way down to the last factor, which is not associating with good people, and then he reversed it. He starts from the last one, go up to the top. Thus, not associating with good person, becoming full, fill up not hearing the good Dhamma. Good person, if you not associate with these people, good people, then it cannot fill up, okay, not hearing the good Dhamma. So you must have good friend first, then you hear good Dhamma. Not hearing the good Dhamma, becoming full, fill up the lack of faith. Lack of faith, becoming full, fill up the careless attention. Careless attention, becoming full, fill up the lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension, Sati and Sampajanya. And lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension, these two things becoming full, it fill up non-restraint of sense faculties. And when non-restraint of sense faculty becoming full, it fill up the three kinds of misconduct. When the three kinds of misconduct becoming full, it fill up the 5 hindrances. And the last one, when the 5 hindrances becoming full, it fill up ignorance. Thus, there is nutriment for ignorance. In this way, it becomes full. So far, so good? All right? Okay, this is the summary. There are 9 factors mentioned in the first part. The nutriment of ignorance. Okay, 1 factor at a time. The Buddha start off with ignorance. That ignorance is a conditioned phenomena. We don't know when it exists. We know it's there. And we know it's there with condition. And the first food or the first nutriment of ignorance is 5 hindrances. This is number 1. 5 hindrances give rise to ignorance. These are the 5 things consider the food of ignorance. Okay. Today we learn something deep. Okay, please don't feel intimidated. Don't feel it's overwhelming. So I'll make sure that I'll stop here and there. If you have questions, feel free to ask. Hindrances, that's the nutriment for ignorance. And then nutriment for 5 hindrances is the 3 kinds of misconduct. Okay, we get to know what is 3 kinds of misconduct in a moment. And just recap what I just read to you. And the 3 kinds of misconduct, okay, the nutriment of 3 kinds of misconduct is you not control your sense door. You don't guard your sense door well. And that gives rise to the 3 kinds of misconduct. And that gives rise to the 5 hindrances. And that gives rise to ignorance. That's how it works. And the nutriment for not restraint of sense faculty, because you lack of sati and sampajanya, you lack of mindfulness and clear awareness. And again, nutriment for lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension is careless attention. You have Yoniso Manasikara. You don't have the right thinking. And the nutriment for careless attention is lack of faith. And the reason you lack of faith because you're not hearing the good Dhamma. And why you're not hearing the good Dhamma? Because you're not associated with wise people. See, the book you read, the people you hang out with, they have influence in your life. Every time you spend time with that book, every time you spend time with those people, they affect the way you think. They shape the way you think, the way you see the world. People say alcohol is good, they go drink alcohol. Some people say meditation is good, observe precept is good. They take you toward this direction, wholesome path. No drinking, keeping precept, meditation. Go meditate, don't go drink. Observe 8 precept, okay? Sometimes 5 precepts times 3. So these are things that can affect your life. So if you want to live good life, the Buddha already give us the answer here. You may know nothing about ignorance, but if you hang out with the right crowd, your life is automatically protected. You automatically protected. You know what? I was born to me, I feel very fortunate. My dad never drink, never smoke. I never saw my mom and dad had a fight in front of me. I'm sure they have conflict, but they never show in front of me and my sister in my whole life until both of them died. So I live in that environment for my whole life. So I will not have motivation or intention to smoke, to drink anywhere, because my father is a role model. He teach me to be a good person. He observed precept. He showed me by example. No drinking, no smoking, loyal to your wife, loyal to your friends. And on the weekend, he go meditate. Sometimes he take me with him. And that's my dad. So that environment shaped the way I see the world. Comparing to a different family, a family of friends that I know, parents drink, parents smoke, parents gambling. And the way he see the world is quite different from the way I see. And why? Because that's the environment we are living with every single day. The day we born until we grow as adult, until we die. That's the environment that's not so conducive to practice spirituality. So now we're going to go one by one. So everyone see the picture, how things get developed, each factor at a time. So it's go all the way up, okay, from not associating with good people all the way up to strengthen the power of ignorance. So if you want to decrease the power of ignorance, you do opposite, right? You work on one item at a time, right? You understand it and you work on it, and then automatically you are protected. You're on your way to weakening the ignorance in your mind. So start from the first nutriment of ignorance. The Buddha talked about 5 hindrances, but he did not explain in this sutra. So this sutra is advanced. In order for him to teach the group of monks this sutra, the monk need to know this basic information already. What it means by 5 hindrances, what it means by wrong action, 3 misconduct, what it means by lack of self-restraint, what it means by lack of mindfulness. So these monks, they know already. So the Buddha did not explain in detail about each item. So when you come to this sutra for the first time, it's your job to go back and study the detail of each element in these 8 elements. Okay. All right, but it's my job here to give you that information and then help you to digest. All right, so start from the first nutriment. The Buddha talked about 5 hindrances, and you have come across this Dhamma many times. As a meditation student, you must know this is your enemy when you meditate. These 5 things will show up. Sometimes 1, sometimes 2, sometimes all of them. What happened to your mind, in earlier session, in that 30 minutes, 40 minutes? Did you fall asleep? If you fall asleep, okay, this is the guy that attack you. Is your mind have lust? This is the guy attack you. Did you feel agitated? This is the guy that happening in your mind when you meditate. Do you have doubt? This technique doesn't work for me. I don't believe in meditation. This guy is the number 5 of the 5 hindrances. A lot of worry in your mind, thinking a lot non-stop, out of control. See, they are here. So you know your enemy already before you actually get to the battlefield when you sit. But the question is, how can you deal with it when it happens? That's something you need to master. Every session you sit, I guarantee you will have this, one of this, or all of this waiting for you. All right, start from number 1. Sense desire is the first hindrance. The Pali called Niwan or Nivarana. Okay, Niwan or Nivarana is 5 hindrances. 5 hindrances, you think of something that preventing the mind from being still, preventing you from get deeper into the state of stillness of the mind. It preventing you from the unification of mind. It distracts your mind, these 5 things. So you cannot still the mind, you cannot go deeper. So sense desire, okay, understandable. The mind go after something it like. Okay, human, animal, object, food, clothes, entertainment, television, movie, newspaper. If you read newspaper before you come to the meditation room, most likely the mind cannot be still, because those information still vividly happening in your mind. about new in the world, the COVID-19, the war in Ukraine, and the pandemic, whatever it is. You don't read the newspaper before meditation. So you watch movie like action movie, you see gun, you see violence, and all of a sudden you turn it off and go back to bed. And that's will keep hunting you in your dreams. You may be running away from someone trying to kill you, because that's the picture you have before you lost conscious, before you sleep. So this is sense desire is something that the mind go after, especially something it like. But if something you don't like, it's the second one, is ill will, this one. Before you come to the room, may hear something not nice, and that sound still kept somewhere in the back of your head when you meditate, and it agitated you. You cannot let go and you cannot meditate because someone says something bad about you. Oh, today Long Pi Christian, he doesn't dress nice. I'm just example, okay? It's not real. And someone says something like that, you're on your way to meditation room, you already maintain the peace and calm, you eat mindfully, you don't walk mindfully, you're about to enter the meditation room, all of a sudden someone says something that you hear it about you, and then you try to still the mind, you cannot. Because the second hindrances is run your mind. You get agitated. And how can you deal with that? The Buddha teach us precisely of how to deal with each hindrances so we can make progress in our meditation practice. And the third one, okay, Long Pi, I believe you already have learned about this, okay, from Long Pi John, Long Pi Tim, okay. So I'm just gonna go a little bit faster. The third one is sloth and torpor. Sloth, it means slow, you less energy. Torpor is the same. It's the sense of less enthusiastic, low energy, battery almost gone. You tend to fall asleep. You tend to any effort at all. So laziness, that kind of thing. It's about no energy in your mind. So when you have no energy, your mind is not cheerful. Your mind is not happy, then you cannot still the mind cannot go deeper. That's basically sloth and torpor. Restlessness, worry, understandable, cannot stop thinking. You're overthinking of a lot of things, and then you cannot control. You try to use the mantra, you try to visualize the object, you still cannot let go that thinking because you worry too much. Oh, maybe I get infected with COVID because I talked to that person, I don't know where he came from, I shake his hand, I forgot to clean my hand. And during that session, you just cannot, because the mind go after COVID-19. This is worry, this is restlessness, non-stop thinking. Or maybe something minor, like you're about to sit and you hear like the thunderstorm, the rain is about to come, and you notice that, you know what, I just finished my laundry and I hang my robes over there. It can be little thing like this, then it's you all of a sudden it distracts you out of the center of the body, and then you cannot still the mind. You worry about your robes. And the last one, this one probably the most harmful one, which is doubt. When we have doubt, and usually this guy happening the last, and there is a reason why they normally happen the last, because they're the most harmful one. When you may not have sense desire, you may not have ill will, you are fresh, you don't have a lot of thought, you're so good. All of a sudden you have doubt. Is this image is real, or is just my imagination? Is this light that I experience is real, or is just someone turn on the flashlight? So you start asking a lot of questions, you have doubt of your own practice. Then it's preventing you from making progress in your meditation practice. So all of this called the 5 hindrances. And the Buddha said, 5 hindrances, they weaken your wisdom and they feed ignorance. They become a nutriment or food of ignorance. So if you deal with this mindfully, properly, you deal with 5 hindrances, it helps you to weaken the ignorance. But if you don't know, you allow yourself to following, running around these 5 hindrances, you strengthen 5 hindrances. That means you strengthen ignorance. The ignorance will always there waiting for you. So this is the starting point. So the question to you is, if we remove 5 hindrances, that means we remove the food of ignorance, right? In this sutra. Because 5 hindrances is the nutriment or the food of ignorance. So if we remove 5 hindrances, that means we already taking care of ignorance. Can we become Arahant then? Can we achieve enlightenment then? Because now 5 hindrances cannot run my mind. Too soon, good start. How come? You need several set of knowledge to answer this question. But it's a good point to consider. If you look at it lightly, that means some people may misunderstanding. Oh, okay, 5 hindrances is the fruit of ignorance. If I remove 5 hindrances, I should remove ignorance and then I become arahant. It's not yet. It's too soon. Something need to happen. Another condition must happen. So this is the beauty of study sutra. You got to think. Samadhi. Okay, 1, 2, 3. This is good. This is good direction. I want you to have a detective mind. I want you to develop this kind of the observation and link it back and forth. Okay, not just it should be like that, or it can be something else or not. Okay, so if we take this lightly, we may feel like, if I remove 5 hindrances, then I automatically remove ignorance. Then I can become arahant. Then I can achieve enlightenment. It's not. In the Satipatthana Sutra, which we haven't touched on it yet. Before the Buddha teach Satipatthana Sutra, the Buddha give the monk 2 conditions to practice. First, you develop Sila. Second, you develop right view. And then you move on to the 4 foundations of mindfulness or Satipatthana. At the beginning, I didn't understand. Why don't I just all of a sudden cultivate mindfulness to the body, to the breath, walking, sitting, doing things? But when we get back to the text, we see how tactful of the Buddha, how when he teaches each student, he said, you must start from Sila or precept first, and then after you're comfortable with Sila, you develop something called the right view. Right view is here. Sila is here, right? Satipatthana is about develop mindfulness, and when you are mindful, you are on your way to develop samadhi. So you need 3 factors in order to remove the defilement in your mind. Ignorance is the defilement in the mind, right? And that's something you should reflect on. So it needs another condition. Beside the 5 hindrances, you need to develop the right view. With the right view point to wisdom. When you have wisdom, you see things the way they are, and then you can remove whatever defilement in your mind. One that 2 condition is in place. So I'll give you another example. Maybe you see it better. You may heard that if someone has a cancer, they have a malignant tumor, right? The cell expand itself non-stop. And if the person stop eating meat or red meat, it slow down this expansion of the bad cell. But if you keep on eating meat, it becomes food for the cancer cell. So cancer cell will grow. But if you stop eating meat or egg, cancer cell can shrink. You weaken the cancer cell by stop eating meat and eating egg. But cancer cell still there, still in your body. It doesn't go away, but it weak. So if the rest of your life you stop eating meat, stop eating egg, it doesn't mean cancer will completely gone. You have to take another step, right? Maybe have the doctor do operation, remove that cell, and then you can be fully recover from cancer. So same thing with ignorance. If ignorance is a cancer cell, 5 hindrances is just one nutriment, one condition that weaken the ignorance, but it doesn't kill ignorance fully. It's not an absolute condition to remove ignorance, but it's one of them. All right, so the second element, now we talk about 5 hindrances, which is the nutriment for ignorance, and the Buddha talk about nutriment for 5 hindrances, which is the 3 kinds of misconduct is here. So when you hear the word 3 kind of misconduct, you think of these 3 things. Human being, we can commit the karma 3 ways: body, speech, and mind. Whether wrongdoing or right doing, we can do it in 3 ways. Bodily action, this is wrong conduct: killing, harming others, stealing, or sexual misconduct. This is called wrongdoing, wrong bodily action. And what is wrong verbally action? False speech, divisive speech, harsh speech, and idle chatter. These are the category. These are the item in the verbally action, okay, unwholesome verbally action. And the unwholesome mental action is covetousness or greed, crave for something, and ill will, and wrong will. So these are the 3 items in the mental part. Right bodily action is opposite, okay, opposite to this. So in short, we commit the karma through body, through verbal, and through thinking. It becomes the karma is become the conduct. It can be pure or it can be impure. And what drive us to be what drive the body, verbal, and mind to be pure conduct? The Buddha point to the lack of restraint, which is the next step. If you lack of sense restraint, you will fall into these three wrong kind of conduct. Easily, very easily. So the fruit of the three wrong conduct is lack of sense restraint. And now I think it starts making more sense. When we experience sense object, we want to know what feed these three wrong misconduct. And the Buddha said, lack of sense control. If you lack of sense control, you open up the door for the wrongdoing, body, speech, and mind. When we see something in the text, it's mentioned two terms. We call sign and detail. Sign means, let's say when you see this beautiful woman, she may be beautiful at her hair, her eye, her skin, her teeth. When you look at things in particular, it's called detail. But sometimes we just see the woman from far away and we feel, oh, she has a very nice body, good looking. So this is the sign. You see the object as a whole. But when you get closer, you start seeing the detail of that object, whether the clothes, whether the computer, whether the car, whether a woman or children. You start seeing the little detail. And whether you see them as a whole or you see them as a detail, just the teeth. Some people fall in love with the teeth, with eyes, beautiful voice, good smell, and then you fall in love. Your mind tend to go after that, just little thing. So these two things keep in mind, whether you see them as a whole or you see the object or the people as a feature, each feature. Be careful. You have to be careful. It's arousing your lust, covetousness, and mental pain because you want to go after it. Some monk went arms round in the Buddha time, and he tried to be mindful. He keep his eye fixed, mindful, walk into the village, and all of a sudden he starts seeing hand first. Wow, hand is so white. So hand is so beautiful. Only the hand look beautiful. What about her face? So now he want to see her face. So he look up and see the beautiful looking, the sign of the woman. And he come back to the temple. He cannot meditate. You see? You lack of sense restraint and it costs you one of these. Mind, lustful mind. Sexual misconduct start happening from what you see. See? Your perception is being distorted because of the ignorance. See, can you relate it? All right. And whenever there is lack of sense restraint in a sense experience, we experience everything through the sense. This is the inner world, the world that we are here. But this inner world contact to the outer world through the five sense door, to the ear, right, the eyes, the nose, the tongue, the body. This is how we experience the world. Without having this sense faculty, we don't know how to experience the whole world. If you born blind, you never seen red color. You never seen beautiful woman. You never seen the sun, the moon. And then with that blindness, you cannot have mental formation about that thing. What is mean by beautiful? What is mean by red color? What is mean by flowers? Because you never seen it in your whole life. And this is how we experience the world. And when that sense experience, it becomes the door for conceiving. So I like to pinpoint here just a little bit before we go to the Sati and mindfulness and comprehension. So when we allow this information, we perceive those information to our mind, and the mind start to give the meaning. And when you allow that to happening, this is what happened. It's the door for conceiving. Conceiving is a big word as well. To keep it short, conceiving means the feeling of being me, being mine, being myself, right away. This is mine. This is I am, and this is myself. This is what happening. It's happened very quickly. So when our perception is being distorted, we start feeling that this is mine, this is I am, and this is myself. And behind this kind of thinking or attitude, is derived from the root cause of suffering. It's called the defilement. Mind means it's derived from craving. this is I am is derived from conceit, and this is myself is derived from will. When we learn about the concept of the five aggregate, we start to understand this much better. The reason we still clinging on this self so much because we have the wrong will. We see an impermanent thing as permanent. We see painful thing as pleasurable thing. We see something that's not self as self, and that's why we are suffering. We don't see things the way they are. It's about will, it's about conceit, and it's about craving. And that's happened because you lack of sense restraints. And what gives rise to sense restraint? The Buddha talked about lack of mindfulness and awareness or comprehension, sati and sampajanya. Sati and sampajanya, which is mindfulness or and awareness or comprehension. If we are not mindful, then we will lack of sense restraint. We will not stand guard at the door of sense because we're not mindful. But if you are mindful, you become a guard at the door of sense. You protect, you only select good information come to your life. So bhikkhu, this is in one teaching. I do not see a single thing that conduces to confusion and destruction of the Dhamma except the lack of full awareness. You see how sampajanya is extremely important in practice the Dhamma. Sampajanya is about wisdom. It's about insight. And sampajanya automatically, okay, it's come with sati. Sati happening first, sampajanya go after. When sati, you see, oh, okay, I see the woman. Sati telling you, I remember this being is called woman, right? Sati is about remembering, about knowing, not knowing, about remembering. Okay, now I'm seeing, I am going arms round, and this woman about to give me food. This is sati. And when sati catch that, okay, that's a woman, and then sampajanya start working. How can you receive alms from the woman properly? That sampajanya start taking control. Okay, open up the bowl, keep your eye fixed, keep distances. This kind of thing is about sampajanya, but sati has to be there first. It support each other. If we lack of awareness, we may do things that improperly. It's coming down to this. If that action that you're about to do, it helps to calm the mind down or bring back the clarity of the mind or not. If the answer is yes, that's it, please do. You may not know whether it's precept or it's sati or it's sampajanya. It doesn't matter. If you know, if I do this is, the mind is peace, the mind is calm, the mind is not agitated, the mind is clear. That's, most likely it's the right doing, not wrong doing. It's a wholesome action. And another example that I maybe add on to this one before I forget. The first example I gave is the monk went arm round, he not mindful enough, he don't have a wise reflection of what he see the hand beautiful, come back, cannot eat and want to disrobe because lost control his mind already at the time that he go arms round. Oppositely, there was another monk. His meditation object was he reflect on the dead body, on the ugliness, loathsomeness of the body. That's how he trained himself, to not attach to the beauty. The beauty is the sign that come with lust. When we notice something beauty, lust already there waiting for you. So the monk practiced, reflect on loathsomeness of the body. And one day he went arms round. I don't know if it's the same village, maybe different. So he went on arms round, and there was a husband and wife. They had a fight early in the morning, and the woman ran away from home. Okay, and she ran away and passed the monk. She happened to be beautiful woman, okay, from the rich family, a rich couple. She ran away and passed the monk. She laughed and she did not give food to the monk. She just ran past by, and she laughed and she cried. She's like almost gone out of her mind. And the monk's standing there with his bowl, with back erect, and he noticed that the woman smiling. He see the teeth, the white teeth, in the mouth of the woman. And what happened in his mind right then, okay, is penetrate to the defilement in his mind of the lustful mind. He achieved arahant right then. With wisdom that he had been accumulated, he see that the body is nothing worth clinging on. It's not beautiful. When he see the teeth, he reflect on the loathsomeness of the body, which he has been practicing this for quite some time. And when that incident happened, because maybe when he was standing there, his mind was focused. He was meditation. He was practice meditation while going arms round. So his sati is always there. His sampachanya is always there. And when the time is right, when the context is right, he noticed that, okay, beautiful woman passed by. He just saw the teeth. And by just sawing the teeth, he achieved arahantship. And when husband came by, after a while, woman's gone. Husband came by and he asked, have you seen a woman pass by here? And the monk said, I didn't know whether a man or woman walked past by. All I noticed was a group of bones just passed by.
Group of what?
Bones. He see teeth, he see bones. So it's just a group of 5 aggregate. He didn't, pay attention in detail, in science, in detail. He just noticed one thing, and it's enough for him to achieve or realize the true Dhamma. Okay, so what is the food of lack of mindfulness and awareness? So when you're not mindful, you will lack of sense restraint, you will lack of sense control. And what is the food of lack of mindfulness and awareness? So we are here already. So the Buddha said careless attention is the food of lack of mindfulness and clear comprehension, which to me I feel like this is make a lot of sense. Okay, now we're talking about another level of wisdom. And here is Yoniso Manasikara. When you go back to the text, this is how the text explains what it means by Yoniso Manasikara. Yoniso Manasikara is careful attention, right? But in this particular sentence, the Buddha talk about careless attention. So I just put things together so you see both at the same time. Yoniso Manasikara is careful attention. Yoniso Manasikara is careless attention. Okay, both Pali and both English vocabulary. In the one of the sutra, the Buddha explained about the 4 perversions, which refers specifically to what it means by Yoniso Manasikara. Okay, again, meaning careless attention. Number 1, what is impermanent? We see it as permanent, because you not reflect wisely. What is painful, okay, we perceive that is as a pleasurable thing. What is not self, we perceive it as self. What is ugly, we perceive it beautiful. These are the 4 perversions. These are the explanation of Yoniso Manasikara. And Yoniso Manasikara is opposite. Opposite means you see something impermanent as impermanent. You see things the way they are, basically. You see something, painful as painful. Something self as self, not self as not self. Something ugly as ugly, beautiful as beautiful. But the reason we see things like this, because our view, our perception is being distorted by avijja. That is why we always see everything is beautiful, everything's looking good, everything's no problem. And we try to make an effort to take control of everything, okay? Go after everything we want, non-stop, and hope that, have all of that, I will be happy. And I have ability to control my happiness and my satisfaction after I have all of that. But at the end of the day, you may realize that that is not true. Okay? There's another parable that I came across somewhere. Life is like you climb up the high mountain. You are here, not just you roll up the stone, like big stone, roll up to the mountain. It's very difficult, right? You go uphill, not downhill. You keep doing it day and night. All of a sudden, you hope to get here. When you get here, you notice that there's nothing up there. It's the mountain of emptiness. So all your whole life, you've been working hard, look after, go after success, education after education, house, car, money, fame, possession. You work hard on your whole life, and when you get to the top, emptiness. What have I been doing? Why do I go after this thing? It doesn't give me any real happiness at all. And you realize that you walk on the wrong path. Reflect on that. So this is the meaning of Yoniso Manasikara. We reflect on something. It's not the true nature of that thing. It's not the reality. We perceive things as permanent. We perceive things as sukha or happiness. Have that one, then I will be happy. Don't have that one, I will be suffering. And when we have it, the craving will kind of, it's like an inner voice telling you that, you know what, go get that one. And when you get that one, you know what, keep it. Make sure you have it forever. Don't lose it. When you lose it, then suffering happen. You cannot, right? You cannot control anything at all, okay? You sell this old car, you buy a new car, you happy for a month, and after 1 month gone, happiness levels drop down again unless you have money to buy a new car, and then happiness level go up again. Okay, one car, one house at a time, happy up and down, and hoping that having that car, you will be happy and your happiness will be sustained and secure. That's the craving. It's craving mind. It's not the case. Because it's impermanent. The car is impermanent, right? And the car is going to break apart eventually. Same thing with dog, with cats that we adopt, with girlfriend, boyfriend. They fall into the same law of nature. We cannot hold them. We cannot have them forever, whether we leave them first or they leave us first. It's going to happen. So the three wholesome root of lust, hatred, and delusion, okay? These three things arise to the careless attention. When you are careless, you see things not the way they are. You see things impermanent because they're not permanent, but you see things that it will be permanent. This happiness will be permanent. When I fall in love with this woman will be my permanent happiness. When I have this car, the car will be my permanent happiness. It will not change. And we think that we can control that. We can control the change. We can make sure that happiness of that object or that being will be with us for a very long, long time. So when we talk about dukkha, okay, dukkha comes from not getting what one wants, okay, associate with some people, some situation that we don't want, and separated from something we love. These are the three doors of dukkha. And we see things that we think we can control this situation. This is wrong will. This is ignorant. When we have a wrong will, we have wrong thinking. When we have wrong thinking, we have wrong behavior. Okay? It's coming down to here, these three wrong conduct. And the three wrong conduct give rise to the 5 hindrances. And then it strengthens ignorance. Okay, hope you see the relationship. All right, so we're almost there. And this is Yoniso Manasikara. Okay, there are 4 things you keep in mind. It's called careless attention. And Yoniso Manasikara is opposite. It's careful attention. You reflect on that carefully. It's thinking toward clarity. Come back to the clarity of the mind. Come back to the purification of mind. That is Yoniso Manasikara. If that thinking shifts you toward that direction, this is called Yoniso Manasikara. Keep you away from suffering. Keep you away from the root cause of suffering. It's called Yoniso Manasikara. Reflection is very important, okay? Because when you reflect, it shapes your behavior. Your behavior can change if you spend time reflecting on your life. Let's say at the end of the day, we do 10 reflections, right? About how well we observe precept, how well we meditate, right? So you reflect on this and then you know, oh, okay, today I break precept. Today I did not spend time study Dhamma. Today I accidentally killed the mosquito. When you reflect and tomorrow you have the new thinking and the new thinking will shape new behavior. Tomorrow you will be more mindful. Try not to break precept. Try to be mindful. Try to spend time of study Dhamma and practice meditation. So reflection affect your behavior. And it's a very simple tool and also powerful tool. Okay, so almost done. And the next one after careless attention, the Buddha go further. What is the food or the nutriment of careless attention? The Buddha said, you lack of faith. You don't have faith. And what is faith? We get to that in a moment. And what is the nutriment for lack of faith? Because you not spend time hearing the good Dhamma. You don't look for knowledge. And why you don't look for knowledge? Because you're hanging out with the wrong crowd. People who don't love to study. People who don't meditate. People who don't love to study sutra. If you hang out with them, this is what happens. But if you hang out with them, opposite thing will happen to you. So lack of faith comes from never hear the Dhamma. And never hear the Dhamma comes from you don't hang out with people who study Dhamma. Okay, very simple. And faith, There are two faith, okay? Rootless faith, the faith is we can call blind faith. Faith that comes from just blind belief. You never seen, you never heard, you never seen, but you believe. And the second form of faith is called faith with a good cause. Faith happening because of you see. Because of you see. When you see, you understand what it means by seeing. Seeing and understanding come together. You think of the coin, okay? One coin has two sides. The first side is the wisdom. Whenever you have wisdom, you have confidence. Because you know. If you lack of wisdom, you lack of confidence. This is by default. And when you have wisdom, you have confidence. Your shake become unshakable faith. You don't need to say you believe. You know you see, and your belief is become unshakable belief, unshakable faith. And that's faith in Buddhism, is unshakable faith. Faith happening because you have that direct experience of the Dhamma that you practice. You don't know precept. You come to observe 5 precepts. Now you know that precept is so good. It helps you to free from worry when you meditate. From that moment on, it's become an unshakable faith toward precept. No one can drag you off, observing precept, because you know precept is beautiful, precept is useful in your practice. And that's become unshakable faith toward precept. Unshakable faith toward meditation. People say meditation is good. If you never meditate, you never experience inner peace, you still, unsafe. You may quit anytime. Monk may disrobe anytime, because monk never experience inner peace in his mind when he meditates. You may ordain 5 years, 10 years, but if you never experience or have direct experience what it means by inner peace, what is meant by the jhana, okay, your faith toward the teaching of the Buddha is still not firm, still not strong. You may go back to the realm of sense pleasure, because that's the realm that we come from. We come from sense pleasure world. To become a monk, we stand opposite to the sense pleasure world. And if we don't find the inner peace from this, okay, non-sense pleasure world, there is a chance for us to come back to where we're from, to disrobe and go back to the lay person. And the very last part of the first portion, the Buddha gave a beautiful parable of what we have learned, okay, since the beginning up until now. I call it the rain parable, so you can read it. Let me read it for you, just real quick. Just as when it is raining, the rain pour down, okay, in the thick rock droplet on the mountain top. Okay, the rain, one drop at a time on the mountain top. The water flow, okay, the water of the rain flow down along the slope of the hill to the cliff, to the creek, and just become fulfill the pool, fill up the lake. It's become the stream, okay, fulfill up the river, all the way down to the great oceans, just like this. Just one drop of the rain on top, very top of the mountain, one drop at a time, it's become water, and the water running downstream from the top of the mountain, go to the cliff, go to the small canal, go to the river, after river, go to the lake, and go to the ocean. This is how it gets built up, one step at a time. This is how avijja or ignorance get built up, one step at a time, because all of this, because you don't associate with good people, then you don't hear the Dhamma. When you don't hear the Dhamma, you don't have faith. When you don't have faith, you don't know how to reflect. You don't know how to reflect. And when you don't know how to reflect of the reality, then you lack of mindfulness and awareness. And when you lack of mindfulness and awareness, you lack of sense control. You just see, hear, taste, whatever, let it pass, let it come, entertain it. And then you commit to the bad misconduct, go after craving. And then you strengthen the 5 hindrances. And after that, you strengthen the ignorance in your mind. It's just like the water, one drop at a time. It keeps adding up. And how can we develop the right view? Since we're talking about the right view, talking about the Yoniso Manasikara, in this particular sutra, if we pay close attention, the Buddha actually gives the answer here. There are 2 ways that you can develop the right view. Number 1 is called parato kosa. Parato kosa means you hear from others. You don't have the right view, you hear from someone else. And once you hear from someone else, you associate with good people, you hear what they talk, you learn what they talk, and then you develop it Yoniso Manasikara, which is the wise reflection. When you reflect wisely, it's become your wisdom. When you reflect that, at the end, we all die anyway. It doesn't matter how beautiful of those ladies. So it's not worth it to cling on, because they're gonna get old and they're gonna die. So by reflect on this, lustful mind kind of weaken. So your mind become calmer and calmer. Then you can meditate. So when you meditate, the 5 hindrances will show up. Maybe 1, maybe 2, maybe 3, maybe all of them, and you deal with it. Okay, sense pleasure, ill will, sloth, asleep, okay, restlessness, worry too much, and doubt. These 5 things will show up, and when it show up, then you cannot meditate well. So you have to deal with this. So make sure you find time, associate with good friends, listen to the Dhamma. This is very helpful. All right. So in summary, the starting point of having that help you to lessen your ignorance is associate with good people first, to develop the will. When you associate with them, you hear the Dhamma. When you hear the Dhamma, you develop the faith toward the teaching. Okay, life is suffering. Suffering comes from ignorance, and it's 5 hindrances. It's a nutrition of ignorance, this and that, and it helps you to develop the right will along the way. And when you have the right will, you develop the right thinking. This is the first tool in the noble eightfold path, which is Sammaทิฏฐิ and Samma Sankappa, right will and right thinking. And these 2 things is about wisdom. When you develop wisdom, it shapes your behavior. You know what good, what bad. You know wholesome, what unwholesome. So automatically, okay, you have motivation to observe precept, to purify your conduct, body and speech. And when your body and speech is pure, is calm, is clean, you're ready for the higher mind development, purification of mind. And the ultimate goal in Buddhism is the purification of mind. When the mind is pure, that means the mind is free from ignorance. The mind is free from defilement. And when that happens, that's it. We graduate from the teaching of the Buddha. We become a wise person. We become a noble person. With that, it's okay for today. Any question, reflection?